marketing, entrepreneurship, and all things small business. You're listening to the Jurassic Marketing's Triceratops. Now, here's your host, Justin Miller.
We're back and taking a bit of a turn from last week.
A little bit different, yes.
Last week we were talking about the business process side and healthcare, of all things. This year we're talking business intelligence and transparent reporting, which is speaking to me.
I know,
it's speaking to you.
It's right in your wheelhouse. I mean, I'm interested by all things business, but this is this is probably 6 pay grades above my...
I love my dashboards and scorecards.
Yeah, I know. You do. I know.
And they come with a host of problems. So I'm taking this as another free consulting session.
Okay.
That's where I'm
Well, that makes sense.
All right. So our guest today, formal intro.
Is that Hey, David Letterman, is that the formal intro?
Opening up the CBS mailbag. Throwback there.
Exactly.
All right. He's the founder of Blinkmetrics, where the team builds done-for-you reporting dashboards that replace spreadsheets businesses are stuck managing.
I mean, that does speak to me. I feel that.
Google Sheets
I
everywhere.
hate that.
Not just Excel.
Hate it.
Yeah, no one looks at them. They connect directly to your existing tools, which is speaking my language as well, to CRMs, ad platforms, finance software, you name it, probably anything with an API.
Integrate.
Deliver live interactive dashboards in 30. There's a big promise here, in 30 days or less.
That is good.
So these builds are sometimes pretty complex.
I could see some small business owners just being in the weeds for 30 days, not even know what they're doing.
Just getting the logins takes 30 days from some business entities.
Well, that's true.
He's going to talk about how they do that, how they serve, how they help, and what we should be looking at. So we're gonna put 2 hats on. Let me welcome him. So Nathan Tyler, he's the founder and CEO of Blinkmetrics. And again, Nathan, welcome. I look forward to stealing as much knowledge as possible from you in the time we have.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It sounds like it's not going to be a cakewalk for me here. It sounds like you're ready to go.
I don't know. We'll see. We talk a good game.
He does.
Here.
Yeah, he'll be.
We really just have dinosaurs and pinball machines, and no soda in the machine today though, so less caffeinated than normal. Caffeinated velociraptors is what we usually are. But let's talk about when someone comes to you, ultimately what they're trying to solve for. So, let me back up a step. And go to what on earth is business intelligence and dashboards. So let's start there.
Yes. Well, we could start with most people's eyes glaze over when you say the words business intelligence, and particularly our core market of small to medium businesses think that I'm too small for data. That's for big companies. Well, at the same time, if you ask them, there's somebody in that company that's maintaining a spreadsheet and copy pasting things feverishly once a month and trying to export this CSV and do a VLOOKUP. And so there's data everywhere. Every small business these days has Calendly appointments and Google Analytics and a CRM and orders in their, Shopify, and they have a QuickBooks Online. Everybody's using 20 SaaS tools to run their business. So they're drowning in data. But if you say the words business intelligence, it's too much. So
yeah, like there's all these promises of solutions, and it seems like it's just gotten more complex. So
yeah,
somehow I found my way into some TikToker that his whole shtick is developer versus management. Okay, and the developer has something they're putting together, a dashboard or something, and management's first question is, can we export this to Excel? He's like, why? It's live. And this is truth. It's funny because it's true, and it goes on every day. And I love my dashboards. And yes, there's people copying and pasting stuff. It's not all automated. I wish it was. Maybe we can talk. But ultimately, it's how you run the business. It's how you can. It's your windshield and your rearview mirror all in one. It depends what's important to the business. So, with that frame of reference, who typically comes to you? So what types of companies, maybe it's industries, maybe it's size, where does this start to become enough of a benefit to where the creation and the expense and the investment is worthwhile?
Sure. So it usually comes from two directions. It's either like the CEO founder who, like, the business has grown to a point where they don't know what's going on in the business, right? And they're disconnected from the day-to-day work. A lot of founders get started in a business not to manage people, but to do the craft. And as that starts to go away, they want to have an eye on quality, make sure things are getting done well. They drive everybody under them crazy if they, are micromanaging them. So reporting is a way that people can kind of let go and say, okay, this area I've delegated, but I still have enough of an eye of what's going on. So there's that kind of overwhelmed or frustrated founder who's trying to keep a handle on the business and know what's going on and not lose all control. And then there's also more of like a director of operations level person, the person who is stitching everything together through brute force, who has all the spreadsheets and has all the copy pasting and probably is managing some people under them and doing operational reporting and also reporting up what's going on. So they need like a set of detailed reports to look down, and they need like a simplified version to pass up or across the organization. That's our strongest. That's the most common, because I think the founder coming usually has to reach a certain level of pain before that happens.
Yeah.
Usually we're hearing from like a director of operations. It's going to be somewhere in that like 10 to 100 employee range. They don't have a business intelligence data scientist on staff. They're too small for that, but they have way too many spreadsheets and manual calculations and bonus payment calculations and all things that are custom to the business that they have no way of doing without spreadsheets.
Yeah, I mean, the pain points you're serving are scattered in there, but there's a lot that are hitting me right now. So as a company behind the scenes, we run on EOS, and we use a EOS scorecard-based system. And the data for our scorecard comes from all over the place. Some of it, yes, I believe at the end of the day comes from some sort of spreadsheet. I try and eliminate those whenever I can find them, but they still exist. They creep in. Some comes from our CRM system. Some comes from the accounting package. And there's different dashboards in each of those packages. So I see the need and use case, even though we might be smaller than the typical company you're targeting. But it's similar pain points. It's probably the question of how much pain is it worth. But it's resonating loud and clear with, why the hell can't just one dashboard go grab all these things in real time for me? And why does a human being have to get involved in this, which costs money and resources as well? And the human being should be thinking to themselves, why do I have to go copy and paste this thing off the network drive?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to hearing the solutions here. So typically when someone comes and starts looking at services like yours, do they have, via some cobbled together manner, their data in the format they want, and they're just trying to streamline this whole chaos they've created? Or are they coming with a wish list of, I really wish I could have XYZ?
Yeah, we do see the whole range. We do see companies who are just adopting EOS, and they may not even know what to measure yet. And so with somebody like that, we're going to start with a template and say, what are your 6 tools you're using? Here's, your top 3 KPIs out of your CRM, your finance, whatever, and we can put together that scorecard equivalent. There's also people who have those spreadsheets, and those are the perfect blueprint for us to build. Like, I just want this, but I wish I didn't have to copy paste it every day, or I wish I didn't have to copy paste it once a month. I wish I had a real time, view of it daily. And we're just replacing that spreadsheet and also adding like filtering and segmentation, because the current state is it takes an enormous amount of work once a month for somebody to collate all these numbers. But after they're done with us, it's streaming in every day. They can also look at it over any different time period. They could filter it or segment it by whatever customer or department they want. So some of them are in that level of maturity, and some of them are really grappling with a question that's so difficult that there's really not a good way to answer it. Or maybe like once a year, like they're going to say, should we change our pricing? Let's do an analysis of all of our customers. There's something that's crossing 2 or 3 different systems that's really hard to triangulate, that they don't have a good system for now. And we can answer those kinds of questions as well. Yeah, so sometimes it's the wish list, sometimes it's the operational, and sometimes I don't know what to measure yet.
It's hard to tell them what to measure when they don't know what they want to see. Let's talk about why the businesses outgrow this, because I can kind of think I hear some advertising for tools like, not throwing shade any direction, but NetSuite advertises in a lot of different business owner places, and it's kind of like the pitch that I'm hearing is, let's throw away all your tools and just get this one that does everything, which scares me.
Yeah.
I like I like tools that are good at the thing they do. But yeah, let's talk about how people get in this position where they've outgrown what they're doing, and what should the process look like before they say, oh, I gotta throw away everything and just buy this enterprise thing, or this Fortune 500 company's on SAP, maybe I need that, or
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to throw shade deeply at NetSuite or SAP, but I think universally you could agree that nobody in the company wants to change all of their processes and all the tools they're using to those tools. The primary benefit of those tools is reporting, centralized visibility and management. Everything's connected, not all these siloed systems. That's a real benefit, but everybody in the company has to change everything about how they're doing, like all your invoicing, all of how you do everything. Everybody's job changes. And really only the people who are happy, if it all succeeds, which these have a high failure rate, and they're very expensive, and you have to talk to them 10 times to figure out what that price is. The only people who are happy is the executive who has his dashboard, and everybody else is miserable, and this process takes 18 months. So that's the gap that we're actively trying to fill, because those are real pains. Like, you can't tell what's going on. It's hard to empower your team and have accountability and set EOS rocks and say, this is how we're going to measure success, if the instrumentation of the measurement is difficult, right? So people get pushed
we've had that before, where we set a rock in a data point and they're like, we've never measured that. How on earth are we going to get that?
Yeah, how are we going to get that data point and measure it every week throughout the quarter and see it? So, I mean, really, that's the area we're trying to fit, is you don't have to change any of the tools you're using. You're already using QuickBooks, Calendly, Keep, whatever, CRM. We can pull it straight from there and then just give you the reporting view that you want and blend data across tools, so we can say, this customer is here in QuickBooks and in Stripe, and they're here in our CRM, and give you that holistic picture without having to change all your tools.
Now we're speaking small business. I know these software platforms. They're on my bank statement every month. Tell me, I'm kind of curious your insight on like AI. So like every SaaS platform right now is trying
Just have AI do all of it for you.
trying to build in an AI component.
Yeah.
And some of it I think is just for the sake of AI. Like,
Yeah.
there's the QuickBooks Advisor now, and in any of the marketing platforms, I just build your whole campaign for you. How has this come into your world with the small business clients that you're working with?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of I share many sentiments that I hear from you there about AI and the overuse of it in marketing. But from our perspective, like, I think there's way too many people that are like, let me just paste 2 years of history into ChatGPT and tell it to analyze this for me. And the error rate of that is so astronomically high. There's so many problems with that. It'll hallucinate all sorts of things. So we really feel like you should be figuring out what views you want of the business, what numbers are important. That should be like a very rigid, like, thought through process that we help people walk through. And we set up those dashboards. So like, what's my report that I look at with my morning cup of coffee? What do I look at when I close out the month? What do I glance at when I'm on vacation? Like, we build those views and those don't change. So like, what numbers you're looking at, I don't think AI has a real place in. But then when that number goes red, then AI has a great place, which is like, why, or give me a little bit more detail, or do analysis in this very narrow area, right? Maybe your scorecard is showing our number of refunds, and okay, well, now it's been one refund, and now there's 10, and it's red on the scorecard. AI is really good in a very narrow space of saying, like, why did we have a spike in refunds, right? And in our system, you can do that. You can ask AI, and we can make a very small prompt for the AI that says, here's the 10 customers that refunded. Here's all of their messages to customer support during that time. Go read all the messages, look at their names, and like try to do a little analysis. And if you give it a bite-sized problem like that, it's very good at giving you a synthesized, like you can ask that question in a meeting and have an AI 80% good response, within a minute. And instead of saying, hey, we'll look into that and we'll come back next week at our meeting. So that's how we're thinking about AI, is like those specific use cases.
Yeah, so it's giving it the right data set and the right prompt, and not just giving it the how do I get 5% more net this year?
I need this. Yeah. Prompting is really so key. It really is.
Yeah. And arguing back, I would say. So you could bumper it up front, right, with the guardrails on what you're giving it, or you better be good at fleshing out what you need and not getting past the flattery of
True. Yeah.
ChatGPT in particular.
Yeah.
You're a genius. You're not the only one experiencing this problem.
Yeah, the most dreaded words. You're absolutely right. That's when you've reached the end and like you just close the window.
Well, if you're self-aware enough, you do. If not, you start believing it and you start writing your manifesto, I guess. All right, let's talk about. So if I get this concept, and this is good because I'm like right here where I got the concept. I kind of know what I want to see. I get the software tools. I'm techie enough. I kind of know how to tinker with API. Like, if I dropped everything I was doing, I could probably pull off something 70% there, which might be good enough. But let's talk about like the trap of that, like the DIY versus hiring a company to do this, and really like where we even look. Obviously, there's your company, but when I'm exploring the space, like what am I looking for?
Yeah. So most companies, when they do engage this, they first gravitate towards the visualization tool because that's the report they want to see. So there's like Power BI, Tableau, Looker Studio, like that space. And that's the thing that draws the pretty pie chart. It draws the line graph, and people are like, that's what I need. And then as they kind of navigate into this jungle, they realize, okay, well, if that's the visualization tool, then it says, great, hook it up to a database. Like, oh, what database? Because it can't just connect to, Keep or Go High Level or QuickBooks directly. You have to get the data from there. So now you need to write the API stuff to go get it and then store it. And then sometimes you need to figure out what raw data you need to store, and you need to clean it up and reorganize it. And so really the way big companies actually solve this is they staff a data analyst, a data engineer, a data scientist, and for like 9 months, they don't deliver anything. They just set up infrastructure and write all these connectors. That's how it's like properly done. And in a previous life, I would do these like 18-month build outs for large companies, and that was the process we would do. We'd build all of this infrastructure in their cloud environments. That's obviously why it doesn't happen most of the time. Usually people get some way down there, or they have some weekend project you can with AI, and you can kind of cobble together some of these pieces now. And a lot of people will hook up Zapier Zaps. But really...
That bill can add up, by the way, if you're trying to push raw data back and forth.
Yeah, it really can. And you quickly discover that really like Zapier Zaps are just copy pasting like snapshots of data. Yeah. It's not really the raw data that would lets you do the kind of filtering and segmentation that you want. It just says like, oh, I got a lead today, but it doesn't say this is Justin. He signed up on this date. He's using, it doesn't have all the structured data. If you're going to ask a question of your report to be able to filter, you actually need it in a much better format. So to answer your question in a way too long way, right? It gets very complicated quickly, which is why most of these projects get abandoned or shelved or built once and then they kind of decay. Not to mention, even if you do all this, now you're managing servers to do the extraction, a database somewhere, your own instance of Power BI, 3 vendors, and then Google changes their API 3 months from now and whatever you built broke, like unless you are maintaining that connection.
Yeah, it's just thinking. So I've seen this from the outside, Thankfully, I haven't ventured into corporate world. But that doesn't mean I haven't heard the grumblings of the implementations of these enterprise level systems, and they're appropriate for enterprise. I get it, but yeah, it's a headache for everyone in the organization. From like call it second tier, maybe not the factory floor, but everyone else up. It's injected chaos, and I do my very small level of that here. I injected chaos today, just wanting a framework change in how we operate in project management software. So one tiny chunk of one piece of software, much less trying to pull together all functional areas. So, there's pain points abound. And yeah, you mentioned jokingly in the onset here that not many people have a BI expert on staff. I'm thinking that's actually a job title. Like this doesn't exist in my world. So, if I decide I want to embark on this project, I'm flying blind on what, like even keywords. I'm going to search dashboard. You're right. I'm going to end up at Power BI or something like that, looking for pretty charts. So what should I be keying in when I'm attempting to solve this challenge?
Well, you should talk to us because we help you navigate all like 4 of those like messy pillars of this problem. But I think if somebody is going to roll up their sleeves and do it themselves, Looker Studio is like a very lightweight filter on top of Google Sheets. So that's like a baby step forward, but you still kind of have that underlying data problem. I would say that you have to decide whether you want to do this in-house and actually like have the Google Cloud bill and all the servers, and then you would hire basically a data analyst and data engineer to build it out in your own infrastructure. Or you come to someone like us that's like one vendor's throat to choke for all the data things, and we'll build out the custom reports.
I like that. So I do the Google search and I start looking at Looker and get my hands like I just touch the dirt and I realize, oh crap, that's way too much. So, yeah. But that's where so there's a step though. That's where I can go and kind of see what a next step might be, and then realize that I don't have the human resources to embark upon said mission. So yeah, it's interesting that you came from the enterprise build world and transitioned to what seems to be, I don't know if I want to call it a leaner product, but a more rapid implementation product. And I want to hear about how you can pull off anywhere close to a 30-day build on this, because I'm thinking if I had full-time dedicated staff, I couldn't get there in that amount of time. So this must be a very structured process.
The inherent doubt and skepticism in that question. I love it. So we do have a pretty tight process. We've done this enough times, and we are leaning on the fact that we've pre-built all these connectors, right? We already have the cloud infrastructure. We already build and maintain 100 connectors. So like we already have your Keep connector in QuickBooks Online and wherever the data lives. So in our first meeting, that does assume, I heard you say it takes 30 days to get the logins. It's 30 days from when we get the logins. The meeting 1 in the kickoff, we say, what are your data sources?
I'm glad that problem exists in your world too.
Yes.
So we started as a digital agency. That was.
What are all your sources? Let's try to connect them. And if they don't connect them, that 30-day clock doesn't start. I can't help if we can't get the data in. But
I'm still impressed though. 30 days after the logins, I'm still impressed. By the way.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do a weekly meeting. You would show up to a call with us on Zoom once a week, and after the kickoff, we kind of figure out what are we trying to measure. Show us the crazy spreadsheets. Like, let's get all the tools connected and get the data in. And this second meeting is basically kind of a validation. Like, yep, all the data is here. These are some first cracks at a couple of these views, just to sanity check. We're going to have questions about the data. Like, what about this? What is this category mapping right? And then in the third meeting, we show you the first version of the dashboard. You're going to tear it down and say, oh, actually, I need this and I need this filter. And on the fourth meeting, you have something that you can use.
Impressive. All right. So I think some listeners are going to be thinking this does not apply to them because they're too small. So yes. How do we...
That would be me.
Yeah. You might be. But how do we size that up? I mean, can they just reach out and you can assess that pretty quickly, or is there a self-assessment they should be thinking through first?
Yeah, I think for most small business owners, we don't have a healthy distance from our business. And I think so, even if you are a solo person, I think actually having, like, I found this myself, I have benefited from even just having like 5 numbers about my business. Like, let's look at my revenue, my billings, my number of appointments I'm having, whatever it is, right? Like, we hope we figured that out. But I think we get so caught up in our business and the craft of the business that it's hard to look at it objectively. So I think thinking of your business in a numbers way is helpful. And I think pretty much every business owner I would speak to did not get into this to manage people. They don't like managing people. They don't like micromanaging. Simultaneously, nobody does it as good as them. And so they're all over everybody's back, and like they don't, people don't like them as a manager. People don't like having those hard HR conversations and all these sit downs of trying to kind of coach them to do it the way you would do it. And I would say that data is a really good way to help with all of those things. We can sit down when you first hire somebody and say, like, these are the 3 or 5 numbers that you impact, in the business. We don't live and die by these numbers. Of course, we're going to have conversations, but we can agree this number should be going up and this number should be going down. And so I think really even your first few hires, it's critical, like, to be able to hand something off and help start delegating. It's critical in that process. So I would say there's no business too small. In reality, I find that many businesses are not ready or don't think in that numbers way. And if you're not a person who pulls up a spreadsheet or thinks in numbers at all, like, this is not going to be like, some people just don't think that way. Like, some people are just pure relationship people, and data is not going to be your answer.
Now, I have so many tactical level questions, but we're against the clock. So I think we'll get you back because I want to hear about, I want to hear some example metrics of what are on other people's dashboards. I want to see behind some curtains, but can't do it today. Sorry. All right, we got lightning round before we wrap up here. We still no sound effect on it.
Still no.
Okay.
Next month. Next week. Maybe.
Nothing. All right. Business book or what's on your Audible or reading pile right now?
Let's see. The Mom Test, which is, if anybody, that's pretty specific to product development and software often. But if you have basically the premise is if you have any business idea, your mom will always tell you it's great. And it really kind of walks you through methodically how, and people will lie to you. Everybody's very polite, says, it's a great idea. That's so brilliant. And it just has a very methodical way of walking you through these customer discovery conversations. So talking to people, and like you said, the opposite of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just like your mom. It'll say, that's the best business idea ever. You're going to be a billionaire.
Until you say, I'm bankrupt. Oh, you're right. That was not a good idea.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was terrible.
All right. Tool or software or something you can't live without.
I use Fathom meeting recording for all like our customer calls, onboarding. It's tremendously helpful for just capturing all those detailed notes during onboarding or even during sales calls as you're talking to somebody. It's helpful to review those yourselves and get those transcripts. So that's like a really healthy use
Nathan's
of AI.
Fathom note taker is not in this meeting. It's
I know.
Special.
It's all going to be a blur. I'm going to forget everything but the cool dinosaurs at the end.
We'll send you one. Favorite quote or motto or saying?
Decisions, not options. That's like in software, having an opinionated stance, and in dashboards is incredibly important that you don't have a vanity dashboard that has 100 metrics. You really need to think hard about those decisions as you're setting it up and just have those like 10 numbers that really matter.
No, that translates into my world too. That translates perfectly in marketing world. It's the what do you need to do, not what can we do for you. All right, if anyone wants to learn more, reach out, see if this journey is right for them. What's the best way to get in contact with you or your company?
Go to blinkmetrics.com and you can schedule a call and we'll talk all about your business.
Great. All right, we're going to wrap. Yep, we're going to wrap this one. We're against the clock, and we will be back again next week. Another guest, another week. See,
maybe another sound effect. I don't know.
Getting tired of hearing us talking. We have guests. We love it. Thank you so much, Nathan, and we'll be back next week.
Thanks for listening to the Triceratops podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave your comments. For more information on how Jurassic Marketing Direct Mail can help grow your business, visit JurassicMarketing.com.